Okay, so Matt Gooch is recording this session as best we can to see if we can't share it with other people who couldn't be with us tonight. And I think I've met everybody here. So I'm Jon Cleaves, designer, one of the designers for DGS Games. Julie's hanging out with us. Matt Gooch will be in and out, but he'll be listening in, and others of our friends and fans and players. And the subject is the Whispers of Doom campaign. So I'm going to kick off with just a couple of comments, and then we'll let you just ask questions, and we'll try to make sure we get to all the things that we can do to help you kick your own campaign off. Whispers of Doom, the campaign rules are probably the third thing players need to know to be able to play the campaign. Of course, these games are all Freeblades games. So you're going to be playing games of Freeblades. Then you need to know the Freeblades campaign rules contained in the LRB, the Living Rulebook also, Living Rulebook 21.1. And then the structure of the campaign is provided by the Whispers of Doom campaign rules, and those are found on World Anvil. They've been put out in links all over our social media this past week, and that captures the kind of the framework of the campaign. The campaign rules tell you how to play campaign games, and the Whispers of Doom campaign tells you what games to play and what patrons you get to choose from, and how a winner is determined using the map. But up until now, we haven't run campaigns generally using a map. Well, I shouldn't say that. We did in the distant past. We haven't done it recently. And the idea here is often what we have done, at least in the KC area for our campaigns, is have kind of a little award ceremony, big final game at the end, and talk about whose character had the highest MAR, the highest RAR, the highest CAR, the most injuries, who retired the most models, usually me, and then whatever other kinds of story, who had the most gold, kinds of just, storytelling elements about how the campaign went. But we don't generally, or have not generally, declared a winner of the campaign. So on the other side of that is we already have a competitive way to play the game. So we have, tournaments and things out there for that. People are interested in that. So campaigns generally are more laid back. We're not trying to be, win all the games or win the campaign is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is telling the story. So what Matt and I have done is create a framework where both are possible, we think, because like a lot of well-designed board games, anybody can win it, and everybody's in it till the end. So the way the Whispers of Doom campaign is structured is designed to create a situation where even if you don't win a lot of games and you have some bad luck, maybe your leader gets killed in the first game. I don't know who's that has happened to on this Discord channel, but I know at least it happened to somebody. And you're still in it though. What you can do about the winning part of the campaign is to increase your chances by having success in gathering more territory. So you're more likely to have found the object of the campaign, but ultimately the storytelling element of all that is still in there, and everybody's got a chance to say, they were the winner, and they can get whatever out of that they want to, or the local group can award a prize, or whatever people want to do that. So it's also an experiment, because we haven't done it this way before. Those of you who played Middle-earth strategy battle game, you'll recognize elements of the campaign rules from Battle Companies. Their map-based campaign is pretty clever, so we've been inspired by that. Some players at the Red Dragon up in Canada have already kind of prototyped this once. They did a version of it not last year, prior to COVID, because the players there have a strong Middle-earth strategy battle game background and liked that methodology and ported it over to Freeblades, which gave us the idea to kind of mash that up with the fact that we can store this information in the World Anvil platform, and we have a map with a hex grid on it that also has hex numbers so that you can say to your game master, I have just, captured or occupied or controlled hex such and such. Because if you're a Battle Companies player like Matt Budney and I are, you have to go tell the GM which one you took, or have a central kind of map to go put your pin in, or it's just another way to kind of control that. So that's what's going on with the campaign. 3 levels to it. You gotta play Freeblades games. You gotta know the Freeblades rules. You gotta know the Freeblades campaign rules, and you gotta know Whispers of Doom. So if you're a new player, it's a lot to do, and questers and fellow players with campaign experience, and people that aren't in your area necessarily, but you can reach through Discord or other social media, can be looked to help. After this, this little discussion here, people need to continue to give a leg up to those players who are new, because they're diving in with both feet, and they should be rewarded for that and encouraged to do it. But they got a lot to learn. And if I have any concerns about that, I've got some very ambitious players out there in Discord who've played one demo game of Freeblades, maybe played a couple games, talking about throwing in a lot of the options that are available. And the first thing I'd like to say about that before I turn it over to questions is, right before I get one more thing after this, 2 more things before I turn over to questions. The first one is the options, the way it was written when we first posted it on World Anvil, was really applicable only necessarily to the KC area, because we like to play with all the options because we got a very experienced player group. What we have changed it to is to say that is up to your group which, if any, optional rules you'd like to throw into the campaign. And I would suggest to game masters, questers, and players of the Whispers of Doom campaign, if you decide to, after a couple games of Freeblades, jump into the campaign, you're going to be learning some new Freeblades rules. You're going to be learning the campaign rules. You got the patron rules and other things going on with the Whisper Doom campaign. And then you have things like continuous spells and alchemy bombs and some of the other alternate leaders that can't normally be alternate leaders, thrown in. You're taking a lot on. Just be patient about it and be friendly to those who need to understand all that jumping in. I love the excitement and the fortitude of the players who are taking all that on in their very first campaign. I think it's great. We just have to help them. Okay. So one last thing before we start is the Whispers of Doom, specifically for those players who are experienced. If you're moving through the rules on World Anvil, you're going to go to your game master with your patron selection. We made a bidding system because we wanted to encourage players who had a particular patron, a particular start position they wanted to be in, to have a way to kind of, compete for that early. And those players who are like, just give me whatever patron, I'm going to go on there and do whatever. Can you take the extra gold and use it to get maybe another follower or some other piece of gear in their free band? So that each game master is going to have to pick that. For us, it's Wednesday the 6th. It's, when I say us, the KC group that are playing in the campaign. We got to turn those things into Matt Gooch by the evening of the 6th. We're off to Michigan for the Michigan Grand Tournament. And we kind of want to have Matt knowing what it is we've done, so he's got some time to return to everybody what patron and start hex are in before it kicks off next week, the week after on the 11th. And then we'll be playing our first games the week we get back, the week that starts with Veterans Day. Not Veterans Day, Columbus Day. And then you play a campaign turn. It's 2 weeks long. You got to play one game. You tell your game master what hex you're going to take that's adjacent to one you already own. Then you go play a game, however your game master lines them up. The scenarios are listed in the bottom of the campaign rules, and how you choose opponents is up to your individual groups. And then if you win, you get to add another hex. Not if you draw, and not if you lose the game. And remember, at the end, you're going to count up hex points, and then the GM's going to kind of set the range of die rolls, 1 to 100. And then, however, whether you're having a party or your final game night, or you're going to do it online, depending on what group you are, your game master kind of determines the quote unquote winner of the campaign or whatever comes with that based on the die roll, and your amount of control over that is how many campaign points you have, which is based on how many and what type of hexes you gain control of. Then some of the hexes are special, and they have a little gold star with a letter, and they add an additional power or ability to your free band if you have control of them. And then the rules talk about the options. We're playing with almost all of them here in KC. Once again, it's really up to your group. Be careful what you wish for. If you get a brand new player all of a sudden running into a demon free band with 2 hero level Zalakars in it, that we don't think that's balanced. That's why it's not a core rule. It's for experienced players, which is why we made an option. Just be careful of that, how you manage that. It's really, none of us can tell you what's right for your group. It's kind of up to each individual group. The campaign awards, we kind of give out, some funnies to, obviously the models that get the highest mark, hard, RAR fun. The dentist, it's a long-running joke with us, who have got the highest knowledge. It's hard for me because I generally retire those people right away, but some people keep them in the free band. They keep getting knowledge advances. You get the most money. It could be a goal that you have. You could have the most injuries, where I just got, beat up, but I still survived at the end with people. And then, of course, there's that overall win also. We do the dispatches thing in the rules where we have a short update, 2-line update, really only 1 sentence, but, sometimes goes 2 lines on social media. Your name, your free band value, the date, who you played, what scenario was, what the result was, and what you got out of it. Items, adventure points, gold, so that the game master can kind of keep track of who played who, and other players can kind of see what free band value people have in the campaign. We put that on our own internal Facebook group to kind of keep track of that, so people can update them. You can also post it in the Sleeping Rush on Discord. However you want to do that. It's kind of the inn in Teradem where adventurers meet in our world. And then things about incentives. We add that people get a model gets or a free band gets 3 AP if you played someone you have not played yet, or along the same side with, so that you're encouraged to go and, if you can, play as many different people as you can. Different game groups can have different challenges with that. If this is a really good example of just something, I could give 30 examples. I'm only going to do it once. This is exactly the kind of thing that your group can mess with. This is the core kind of idea. This is the way we're going to play it in Kansas City. If it doesn't work for your group, change it. Everything about the games that we make and the campaign rules that we make and the scenarios we make are toolkits. And we strongly encourage individual play groups to use or not use what works for them. So just because we have a bunch of players locally here, and we play face-to-face instead of on Tabletop Simulator, and so we can give an incentive for people who are playing a lot of different games against different players, doesn't mean it works for everybody. So if you want to do that based on some other incentive you want to give, do it. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. Game Master's in charge. So do what you need to. We also point out here that there's an honorable withdrawal rule in the Free Blades Living Rulebook, where a player can stop a game and say, okay, you win. It's not a concession. Nobody's admitting any weakness to anybody, but if you are already in a difficult situation, seeing more of your favorite models with lots of advances get crushed in a situation you're not going to be able to change anyway, nobody wants that. So that tells your players how to resolve that situation. I have honorable withdrawals on turn 2 in a campaign game. So it's It's not anything to be ashamed of. It is saving your free band from a situation that rapidly got out of control, or it's just late in the game where your opponent's about to win and you're going to lose a couple extra models for no reason. So we want people to kind of be aware of it and be encouraged to use it. Then the patrons, which are selected for Whispers of Doom because they're in Haradel or have some interest in what's going on in Haradel, and you start with them, and they provide you a special rule to your free band, and they are tied to by number the start position circles on the edge of the Whispers of Doom campaign map. So if you have Heronfear, the Chief Enforcer, as your patron, you're going to start in the hex marked with the circle with the 8 in it. And you're going to have the Mark of the Enforcer special rule. We're going to make a couple small changes in the next couple days so that, as Matt Budney pointed out, too many of these are not really useful for certain free bands. So we're going to make some slight tweaks to open that up a bit here probably tomorrow during the day sometime. For example, the Mark of the Enforcer Heronfear special rule is for models with a blade weapon. It should actually say weapons from the sword group, but even that does not really apply to the demon free band in a large degree. So we're going to change that slightly, either for demons or the wording of it so it's more broad. There's a couple others like that we need to tweak, and it's not just demons either. Some other situations, and then the scenarios. There are 9 of them, so it's a 9-game campaign. In KC, we're doing it every 2 weeks. That's 18 weeks. It's going to go for a while for us. And I tell you, I don't know about anybody else. I want that. The last one was 6 games, and I was not ready to be done. I was having such a good time in the campaign last time. I loved the closeout game with the big undead assault.
Agreed.
Red pass, but I could have played easily 3 more campaign games, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't alone. So we increased it. 9 doesn't work for your group. Don't do it. Change it. Okay, that's the Whispers of Doom rules in a wicked nutshell, and some other framing things. And now I'm going to open it up to just to answer your questions and help you have a better campaign experience.
All right, I got a question. Do you have a high resolution photo of the map that we can use?
With or without hexes?
With the hexes. So basically the Whispers of Doom campaign map that you guys have, but a high resolution version. I'm looking to print off our map so that we're going to put pins in it and everything like that to.
Yeah, so you're not talking about the one that's off to the right on the World Anvil page. You're talking about something you can turn into a printed piece of material.
I am looking at the Whispers of Doom. So when you go into Whispers of Doom, it is the Whispers of Doom map off to the right with the hexes and the circles and all the special locations and all that jazz.
Okay.
That map. But every time I'm uploading it, it says low resolution. Hey, this is going to be blurry or pixelated.
Really?
Yeah, is what it keeps yelling at me.
Okay, so the answer is yes, we'll get that for you, but I have a couple questions to make sure I'm doing the right thing, okay? So we're going to get it to you one way or the other, Jeff, but I have questions. When I click on that, okay, when I'm on the Whispers of Doom article in World Anvil,
yes,
the Whispers of Doom map is on the right, okay, in the sidebar, right?
All right.
At the bottom of it says open full size.
Okay.
Now click on that, right? And boy, that is super clear. And it doesn't stop me and say it's going to be pixelated or whatever else. So,
I'm gonna I will do a thing in the world in the in the Whispers of Doom thing. I am attaching a photo that you can see what I'm talking about
in the Discord.
In the Discord, in the Whispers of Doom, I have attached. It is now attached, and so you can see that. Because yes, the map off to the right there is gorgeous, but I can't.
That's really
I can't download that map.
Okay, we'll get it to you because that's not how mine looks at all. Okay, we'll have to get it to you.
I've put the thing off to the side, and like that's also part of the like pixelation on that is simply I'm taking a picture of a
No,
TV
but it's
screen.
opening it in some kind of photo editor that's lowering the resolution.
It's it's because I'm taking the photo I'm using actually is off of Facebook that you guys upload when you launch the campaign. It was like the pinned image that you guys had there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that image was taken.
Yeah.
It's not the gorgeous one on World Anvil. Because I can't download that one. If I could download that one, I would do it, but I can't.
Did you ever try using a different browser?
No, it's not browser. It's World Anvil. I'm having the same problem, and pardon my interruption. I would like that World Anvil image as well, John, just because it looks so much nicer and cleaner. Even on my sheets that I'm doing for my online campaign, the World Anvil one is a much better quality and much better resolution.
Okay, so yes, but the issue is right that so I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're not going to I know you need it. I'm going to get it for you. We're going to have to figure it out because if we have to figure out where to put it, because if you can't get it from World Anvil, and Matt Green might know a trick that will help us, do that so it comes up right for people. We have to find a way to share it so that it's high res, because oftentimes online applications change the DPI to 72, and you're going to want a 300, DPI image that prints out the right size when you go to print it. So it looks great on my monitor in the World Anvil, like you said, in the World Anvil. But when I go to, like you say, when I take it from the Facebook,
I also tried to grab it with GIMP or like a scissor tool off of World Anvil, and it's not. It's not.
It's going to convert before it lets you do that. I got it. So we just got to find a place to store it so that people can go get it, and while they're getting it, it won't. Because of anything,
maybe reach out to the Armitage brothers.
It won't drop the resolution. So, but I got it. Is the bottom line. Let's say that we're going to do that, and we're going to find a way, and let's allow other questions to be asked. So, yes is the answer.
Thank you.
John, it appears from the rules that it is, unless I'm being obtuse, that it is impossible to take a hex that another free band already owns unless you beat them in a campaign game.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
And own an adjacent hex.
Right. That's right. You're generally only going to be taking hexes from people you're next to, obviously, because you're going to stretch into the center of the map wherever you go. And you don't have to, right? I mean, there's also possibilities where you stay out of those kind of, it's a little bit of going on. You know what I mean? You could get blocked off and then have to fight your way clear to be able to get to unoccupied hexes. You can, and we have not done this campaign before, so technically we're all playtesting it together, right? And we may find things that we have not anticipated. Now we've mathed this out a little bit conceptually, but we have not, and a bunch of us have played Battle Company's version of this. So we've seen these things happen in real life in that context, but nobody's played Whispers of Doom before. So, but the idea is if I'm in, position 2, 1 and 3 are, on either side of me, those are the people most likely I'm going to be running into, and depending on which route they took when they started gaining hexes, will become adjacent to them. And if I want that territory instead of just an open one, I need to match up a game with them and play it and win to take it.
But this is
you need to be
essentially. Go ahead, Julie.
Well, I think my internet's messing up, but do you need to be adjacent to your opponent in order to play them?
Nope. Not at
Just
all.
to take the hex.
If you win a game and you want to take a hex that is occupied by someone else, right? That, it has to be the person you played. Said the other way, when you play someone and beat them, you may take a hex that you are adjacent to that's unoccupied, or one that is occupied by the person you beat. But you don't have to in any way play somebody that you are near. They can be clear across the map.
Got it.
So the campaign setup is a form of a round robin, though, that if you have 9 players, you're trying to play each player once.
That's up to the individual group. Doesn't have to be that way at all. The way we do it, we don't tell people who to play because we've got schedules and life events and whatever, and people aren't going to necessarily be able to match up on the same night. A lot do, some don't, and so we incentivize through that 3 adventure point thing, playing someone you haven't played yet. But that's just an incentive. It's not a requirement. You can play the same person 9 times. You're missing out on 27 AP if you do that. You're missing out on the opportunity unless that person's next to you and you just want to, go to war in the map campaign, which we haven't done yet. So we haven't seen that with this group of people playing Free Blades. We've seen it before in other contexts, but not this one. But in our group, there's no requirement to play different people or not play the same person. It will happen naturally, with that incentive. But it's not structured that way. It certainly could be. If that is what works for a group, playing around robin, so they go around the horn and play everybody once, is awesome. If that's what they want. It's hard to pull off, but it's certainly okay with us.
Okay.
Can you explain how the bidding works a little more?
Yes. So if you're interested in bidding, you have to send to or convey over to Matt Gooch in our campaign, the Game Master, in whatever campaign, your top 3 choices of patron and an amount of gold. And then once that's all done, he is going to go to the person who gave him the most gold and give them their first choice of patron. If there's 2 people that bid the same amount of gold, exactly the same, most amount, let's say the most amount in the group was 9, and there were 2 players that bid 9. He's going to go those 2 players and randomly determine who gets their first choice and who gets their second choice. Then those 2 patrons are off the table, right? And he's going to the next person who bid the most gold down the chain after the top amount, and then give that person their first choice if it's still available, right? And we said top 3, we think, just doing some math, that will get us through this. But if everybody bids and it's the numbers got a lot of ties or they're all over the map, the top 3 choices might not work, and you might have to come back to somebody and said, you were 3rd highest or 4th highest, but everybody's bidding all over the map and everybody's picking the same people and you didn't get your first 3 choices. So what's your next one? So it is risky. You could be, theoretically, spending an amount of gold and not get a very high choice of yours. But that's, we haven't played that way before. We're trying it out. And the math tells us it's really probably, there's just as many people talking about the joy of having 160 gold as there are people who really want to go after a particular patron, at least in our group. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but each game master is going to work that out. Matt and I have some strategies if things go absolutely nuts with how we're going to deal with it.
So if you lose on your first pick, Are they just going in a particular order? And if you lose on your first pick, then your second pick counts as your first pick for the next round? Or
There's no rounds. Okay, let's say that there are unless by the word round we mean each group of people that bid the same amount, right?
so you're going by the gold that people put up first.
Yes. Yep. It goes in the order of the person who bid the most gold, or persons if there's a tie, and works its way down. You know.
So there's no actual order to your 3 picks, really? Or...
So I think to answer your question, so you're gonna put your 3 picks down, and then whoever bids the highest is gonna get their first pick. And let's say it gets to you bid like the 5th highest, and your first 2 patron picks are already chosen. You get your 3rd pick. If all 3 of them are chosen, then I don't know what would happen at that point.
Right.
But
so the issue is that what we don't think we can do, because we want to start the campaign fairly soon, is have an NFL draft, meaning we're going to go to the first person who bid the most gold, ask them their first choice, scratch it off the list, and then contact the second person and ask them what their choice is. By drawing this out and wargaming it a little bit, what we found is that if we have people bid and they give us their top 3, we are going to be able to maneuver through that pretty quickly with only having to go to a couple of people and ask them what their next choice is. But the bid is for position. It doesn't necessarily get you your top choice and patron. It's for choice position. And it can seem kind of random because you don't know what other people are bidding. It's a risk.
Can you bid to have anybody but a certain patron?
I gotta tell you, Julie, for our campaign, I would say that's up to Matt.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
Game master.
yeah. He could get to because if it were me, I'd say yes. And what would happen is if I got to that person and said anybody but X, right? I would choose randomly from what was left that didn't include that person, that patron, right?
I'm gonna trade that off, Blade Mother.
Yeah.
I'll say yes, but you can no longer glower at me when I tell some sort of a silly joke.
Yeah, that's right. No more stern looks for dad jokes for you. So yeah. So Matt, what do you think? A person wants to do that. The bid comes into you. You get to that person in order, and then they said, "I'll take anything but Heron Fear or the mayor, and whatever they chose." And you just choose randomly from what's left that isn't that person, and that's what they get.
I think that's
great.
That? Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Okay. So yes. For KC, really, like I said, it's up to individual groups, but that's apparently what we're doing here.
I'd like to get some clarification on how the first game is going to work. I know we're starting at our patron's hex. Does that mean we control it before that game starts, and therefore in the search phase we get to add one?
Yes.
So theoretically, by the end of the first game, you could control 3 hexes if you won?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not theoretical. If you win your first game, you're going to control 3 hexes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the second search phase does say May.
Right. You can. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's great. Different people have different objectives, man. So I guess I shouldn't say you will, because I go, no, you guys can have it. I don't need that.
So if I control a special hex, that means I get whatever benefits are tied to that hex for as long as I control it and as many special hexes as I control?
Yes, ma'am.
For the hexes that give you the life point, like you get for every life point dealt, you get extra AP or whatever. Let's say we play a game, game's resolved, I lose, and my opponent actually chooses to take that hex from me. Who gets the benefit from that hex, me or my opponent?
That's a good question, but I think we have the answer here. Just one sec. Yeah, you would own it in the game phase, and you don't do the second search phase until after the game is over.
And that's what I suspected.
Right.
So, cool.
So you are through the post game of your campaign game before it changes hands.
Groovy.
I had a couple of patron questions.
You know, you were here last night. You could. Is this for everybody else's benefit? Is that the deal?
I didn't come last night.
Yeah, because we were talking production, right? Okay, hit me.
It was working. You may imply a glower if you wish.
Yeah, you were working. We were sitting around drinking scotch and making fun of you. But yeah, you were working pretty hard.
Haram Barros says models belonging to a free band gain +1 AP for every LP loss caused to an enemy hero or creature. Is that above the normal?
Yeah, the plus, in every case where it says +1, it's above the normal award. So if you shot an enemy hero and it lost a life point, you'd get 2 instead of 1.
Okay. In the special hex descriptions, it said over the normal reward, but it didn't.
Okay. I'm making that note. There's no reason not to go in there and add that.
John, it might be worthwhile to put something in. I think for someone who's played campaigns before, it's self-explanatory, but for new players, it might be worthwhile to say something about +1 AP for the model that caused the life point lost.
Oh, just not into a pool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I also have a question on Heron Fear, which I understand you guys are rewriting. But while you're rewriting, it says at the beginning of the game, every faction model with the blade weapon gets 1 marker. And then it says once a game, the hero can trade in the markers. So is it every faction hero or every faction model?
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be hero, but we're going to have to double check that. So we're going to come back to Heron Fear with a big,
Errata.
fix.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Believe it's intended to be hero in both cases, but we're going to have to fix it anyway. So we'll double check that when we do. Fix it, improve it. I like better. So.
John, one thing that as a new player I'm having a challenge with currently is the state of Tabletop Simulator. I hung out with Matt this weekend to try and get a lesson on tabletop, and because the images aren't loading, and we kind of found a possible solution to instead of direct the images to be on the cloud, on Steam's cloud, to actually pull them straight from World Anvil. Is there any chance or any way we could figure out if that could possibly be done before the tournament starts to make it easier on new players that are just uploading Tabletop Simulator?
Yeah, that's a challenge to answer that, Paul, because Tabletop Simulator for us is mostly, and I've emphasized mostly, a player-run thing. we're a tabletop miniatures game company, and Tabletop Simulator is a video game. So we can't, it's not that we don't want people to be able to play it. We do, and we've supported it with a bunch of things. But on the other hand, the group of us cannot spend any significant amount of time away from our players that are playing our miniatures game in terms of design and production and other duties to operate and care for Tabletop Simulator. However, I said mostly. So one of the things that we did do and will continue to do is provide to the people who are keeping Tabletop Simulator going for Freeblades players, which is BJ Lemure and Matt Budney, access to the images to be able to support. So we provided BJ with a folder that had all the imagery in it at one point, I think. And we could do something like that again. I just I'd be talking, off the seat of my pants if I told you exactly how we did it and how we might do it differently or do it the same way again. But we can, after this or in some other channel, we can go and explore exactly what's needed and what we might do about it. So, pictures of the models, we did a mass dump, I think, to BJ when he first put the assets into Tabletop Simulator, and that folder is somewhere, and we could give somebody else access to it if they want to be the one that, maintains it or alters its current state. We're not going to be the ones that go in there and do that, because our time is devoted to those players who are playing with miniatures. It just has to be that way. We're a business. But we know that some people are remote. Some people prefer it. We want to help them as best we can, given that we can't put a lot of time into it. So we'll figure out a way to get that reorganized to better fix whatever the problem is, which I don't know what it is.
All right. John, can I interrupt and help out a little bit here? Yeah. The problem is giving the files to BJ will not end up working. The problem isn't the images there. The problem is on Steam's end. So the workaround we came up with, and by the way, Paul, I'm going to be having a video on this to help you out. I can answer your question in a minute, but this is more for John right now. The workaround we've got is you on World Anvil, when you pull up, say, the Raven Blade, on the right-hand side, you've got an image of the Raven Blade. If you link to that image, it fixes the problem. So just somebody has to go in, relink everything, and then BJ has to re-upload that module. It's going to take, as you said, you're absolutely correct, it's going to take some time. But Paul, I am coming out with, and it should be done rendering hopefully when I get home, I am coming up with a video so that in the short term, it shows you how to do that just for your free band, how to save your free band, so that when you play your opponent who hopefully did the same thing, all your images for at least your free band work, so that you and your opponent can at least see what models and everything you're playing against each other. For a short-term fix, that's the easiest way to do it, because it's with the 100 and some models in the DGS line, it's going to take a while to get all those images corrected and then get BJ to upload them.
So Matt, let me ask you this. Is the longer-term, broader fix to have you tell us what to suggest to BJ he does? Does he have to do something to fix it in a larger sense, or?
This weekend, because we're not playing at your place because you're going to be at Michigan GT. I have nothing going on. I can go and get all the links fixed. It'll take me 2 days, but I can do it. I just need to get with BJ so he can grab all my fixes and upload it, because that's the biggest problem with Steam, is the only one who can actually edit the core folder, the core module, is BJ himself.
Is it possible to have two or more people able to do that?
Nope. We've tried. Steam hard locks it to the publisher only.
What if BJ said, "I don't want to do this anymore, Matt, take it over"? What would you say?
That no problem. I can pull it. BJ would pull down his module, erase it. I would upload mine, and then we would just use a new one.
Do you?
And then I would have sole control.
Can I ask you to contact BJ about that?
No problem. I could type up a Facebook message right now while we're doing this.
And if I understood you correctly, I might not have. You don't need me to resend the images. You need to work this out with BJ and change who's in charge of our assets.
Yes, because we grab the images from World Anvil. So,
Okay.
if you go to, I'm going to pull up World Anvil here.
Well,
You go into Ravenblade.
Yeah, I got it. I got that part.
You know, and all you do is right-click on the image for Ravenblade, and then copy the image address, and you link that to the module.
Okay. All right. So if you would, to work through this is to get the who's in control of it transferred from you to BJ, from BJ to you. That would be great. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to us who's in charge of it, and if Steam is limiting it to one person, seems like you're way more. I don't know how much he's playing anymore. I don't know what his life situation is. And people are generally coming to you anyway for advice about Tabletop. And if you go, this is all great, but you got a couple of new models, you haven't loaded their images into World Anvil yet. Can you give them to me? We'll do that. Or we'll change. If we're missing, I think we probably are missing a couple on World Anvil. We'll prioritize that to get them up there so you can get after them. We'll always support with the assets, right? And we can't do what you're doing. That's what we can't devote time to. So, but we certainly can support you. So if you take care of that, Paul, does that help you?
Matt, this has been question.
Sorry about that, John. Yeah, it does. It was. I'm glad that it's going to get resolved. It just might not be in time for the scenario. That's all, or for the campaign rather.
I mean, your group can start the campaign whenever your group wants to start the campaign, right?
Yeah, we can.
We said the week of the 11th because that's when we're kicking it off, but it doesn't have to be simultaneous day by day, right? Let me change what I just said. Don't feel any pressure to start on a certain day that doesn't work for your group. Because there's no reason to. Right?
Okay. I thought it was a simultaneous thing. I guess when I first
my plan was to be simultaneous, but if I'm going to go through and fix, we may be off a week.
Oh, I'm
depending
fine
on how
with
long it takes me to upload all the images.
Yes, but also if the Tabletop Simulator version doesn't quite start on the 12th of October and starts on the 15th or something, it's easy to get caught up. If those games get played before the 2-week period's up, you're going to be aligned with us anyway. But I've got 2 weeks as a player. I'm playing in our campaign. As a player, I've got 2 weeks to play one game. At the end of that 2-week period, then we're going to be looking for opponents for, scenario 2. If it takes a couple extra days before, when we play the event of the 12th, if I play my first game and you don't play your first game to the 15th, you're still going to be, or 16th or 18th, you're still going to be caught up by the time the next, phase of it starts. So I would not sweat that too much is what I'd say. It's all going to work, I think.
All right. It's daunting because, like you said, new players have a lot to learn, and it was just one extra hurdle. That's all.
They do,
but it looks like Matt's on it, so I'm appreciative of that. So that'll be one less hurdle I get jumped.
Yeah, and this isn't the only time. If somebody says, "Hey, we're struggling," could you jump on? If it's possible, one of us will do it, right? Later than today. I mean, during the campaign, you're in the middle of game one, so you run into some challenge, and you want to say, "Hey, could you get on Discord next couple of days and help us out?" We'll find a way to make it work. One of us will.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Hey, John. From a new player perspective,
was that Ben or somebody who had a question for me?
I figured it's a technical question. I figured why bore the group.
Okay. Well, when we're done, I'll jump into another channel and we'll talk about it. Then that's
All right.
easy.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about depending on World Anvil as a third party, because if they change that URL stream or that URL path, will that not break TTS?
Steam's doing the same thing on a regular basis. Hopefully,
Right.
World Anvil happens less.
Right, but
That's
I mean,
the problem.
you guys own DGSgames.com. Why not source them from there?
Right.
Because they're not sourceable images from there. The way they've got them set up with the auto zoom, you can't grab the link.
Yeah, that's been,
I've tried.
like you said, we want to not spend too much more time on this particular problem. But the bottom line is, if you want to recommend a location or a method for us to dump the images of the models into, let's talk about that later, and we will help you do it. Bottom line. What he's talking about is, DGSgames.com store is run by Big Commerce, and those images aren't stored the same way that World Anvil is storing theirs. I don't think. I'm not the technical expert, but we own all the images, and we will put them in a spot that makes sense to support players playing on Tabletop Simulator. If they're not in the right spot right now, we'll find a spot that works and help get them uploaded. Right? I don't want to take too much more of tonight's discussion about that particular problem, because whatever it is, we're going to solve it one way or the other. With your help.
Right, that's why I was just going to pee in them.
Yep. So, bottom line is, we will put those images where they need to be. That's the best solution for TTS that you guys work out. You just tell us what works best, and we'll put them there. Okay. I will put them there personally. What do you think of that? So,
I'd like to see it.
it's a click and a drag, sir. I mean, it's not like I'm killing myself here. So, Roger.
So if you want to talk about this at the GT, I'm fine with that, because it's kind of more of a high level type thing. But what pitfalls might there be if the players wanted to start at maybe 200 gold? And then also, if you as a quester, or one as a quester, finds a new player at week 9 of this 18-week campaign, is it realistic to try and slot them in? Or would we be better off from a player experience to push them off until the campaign was over?
I would tell you both of those things are possible in my mind. We have a lot of experience-based faith in the handicap system. Both the way it's written in the rule book in terms of using handicap points, or saying to someone, player A has a free band value of 200 and player B's got a 400, and either the player with 400 plays at 200 or they meet in the middle somewhere. And so if you have someone joining a campaign late, which we've done on a number of occasions, new player couldn't play the first couple of weeks for life reasons, whatever it is, joins and says, I'm going to jump in. And the game master can either say, you can jump in at X 100 gold, which is different than the start position was, or you can jump in at 150 and you get X number of advances and you roll for your advances and the GM helps them with that, or whatever. It's built to handle exactly that situation. It's really player preference and game master preference how it's done. So I would have if I were running, I don't want to speak for Matt. If I were running the campaign and somebody came to me and said, I want to jump in, but 4 of the 9 games have been played, what do you want me to do? I'd give them options. I'd say, do you want to advance up, or do you want to have a number of gold coins equal to X and jump in that way? Either one. And if they said, I don't know, I don't have enough experience, what do you think? I think there's advantages to both, because I've done both things. And if I play a player who's got a smaller, either a new player or a player new to the campaign, or a player with a smaller free band value, and I play at their free band value level, I'm going to have way less models, right? Because I've got a hero that originally cost me 30 gold with 5 advances is a 45 gold model, right? Free band value wise, 45 point model. So and they're all paying with gold. So that 15 points is in things on the ground instead of additional talents that some of them might not be all that synergistic or valuable. I might have a spirit up and a knowledge up and a jump, climb, and swim, and I'm paying the same price as a Stone Class Savage, right, for a 30-point model. So that's extreme. It doesn't really work out that way, especially in my case because I retire those bastards too quickly. But the bottom line is that that's really what I would say is it's really so personal based to the way the game master and their group wants to play. It would be hard for me to say. What I would do is, if they don't already know and they want to add a player to the campaign, say, hey, could you get on Discord with us and say, this is a situation, what would you recommend? We want to bring this new player in. And then we could talk some particular details, like most of my group is in the 500s right now. What do I do about this new player? Okay, what game are you on? Or, and then once we know some details, we could give maybe, better advice. Do they know the game and are just coming in late, or are they completely, play the game of
right.
free?
What about?
Campaign, I'm surrounded by 400 FE freebands.
Has any thought been given to the campaign map in regards to any sort of handicap?
Thought given, yes. Writing about it, no. So
okay.
That's also going to be situational. I would tell you one way to go is if somebody joins late and there's a patron position open, you give them, they won half their games,
okay.
or, 1/3 of their games.
That's
and
easy enough.
they grab a couple hexes and catch up in there,
Okay.
That's really personal to the group. In our group, me personally, this one dude, if that bothered someone, I wouldn't want to be playing with him anyway. Oh my God, they didn't earn those. It's not about that, guy. It's about bringing new players into the game system, making them feel welcome. If we've got 6 hexes each and they've got 1, what are we doing here? So let's give them 4, right? And let them play, let them run with it. And so if you're super concerned about the fact that they're getting over on the system, you probably ought to be playing something else. Maybe, certainly in our group, that's the attitude, right? So I would be absolutely on the side of bringing in a new player and making a comfortable space for them to play in. And if that meant, they got some money on hexes, like a player with a buy in a tournament, I'm not sweating that.
Okay.
It's the same thing like you have a player join late in a role-playing campaign. You guys have been playing, your group, guys and girls have been playing for 6 months, and they jump in, oh, no, they have to be first level because we earned this. Oh, okay, you need to move on. It's like, right? And that's just me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for other people. It doesn't work for me, So it's really an example of how individual the situation is. We're certainly there to help if it comes up. I'm sure Matt would give them their choice for remaining patrons, some number of hexes just under where the leaders are, and some amount of gold based on, a mean of what is out there right now. It's not going to provide too much advantage or disadvantage. Put them in the middle. If you're Julie, you want to come in with 100 gold because you want to play all the players and get all that extra AP and rock it up in terms of your advances, right? I mean, I've never seen her that I remember say, let's play down to my free band value if she can get away with it because she wants all the extra AP for the difference if she's playing somebody above her, right? I got that right there, boss?
Yeah, that was absolutely the case until I discovered beer and I started being the higher free band value.
She's way more dangerous a player based on the amount of beer consumed. That is a true statement.
2-beer Julie is a steely-eyed killer.
That's right. Did not get in the way of the nemesis when she's had 2 beers.
But yeah, I used to really struggle tactically, and I imagine last campaign may have been a blip. I may struggle again, but absolutely was always looking for somebody with a higher free band value because look at all the AP. It was awesome.
Yeah. And even, in thinking about it, that's a good example of what we mean when we say it's a toolkit. The rule book says that if you're using the handicap system and you play someone with a higher free band value, you get 1 AP per 10 free band value difference. So if you've got, a 300 and you're playing somebody with a 400, when the game is over, win or lose, draw, you're going to get 10 extra AP over all others earned. If your group said, you know what, we want to give a player even more incentive to play those games, so we're going to make it 2 AP per 10, you're not wrong. It is once you have purchased or been promoted a living rule book, it's your rule book, and we are not here to say that you can't do that. The only reason we have rule books is to standardize, meetings between disparate groups. If you just played in your group on some island of the Pacific, and that's all, you'd have your own rules. What would you, you'd take the rule book and do whatever you wanted with it. When players meet from different groups, like in a competitive setting or in a con where they're playing Brightsword with other Brightsword players, you need to have some agreed upon standard. But if it works for you to have it be, 2 AP per, you're going to change how much gold the loser of the game gets to crush the difference down between winning and losing from a gold perspective. You're going to give gold as an incentive for people that play up to higher free band values in addition to AP or instead of AP. That's your group's call. Really, it really comes down to whatever works for you, and all we're really doing is giving advice based on having played it, not anything definitive. So,
Julie, I think I heard John just say that the next Kickstarter was a game of free blades on an island in the Pacific.
I do not use that word in the presence of the Blade Mother. She will cut me with her sakazit if that K word comes up in a conversation. So, no, sir, is my answer.
You're the flower.
Yeah. Whole bunch of Kickstarters off the coast of California right now. Just saying.
You're right.
Except 4 of mine, so.
Yeah.
All right, how else we can help you guys?
You tell me who to bid for.
Scott, you just got to put in your bid. Shut up.
I am not bidding for a couple of reasons. One, I don't need to be taking a patron away from somebody who really wants a particular patron. But more also true is I want all 160 of my gold because I have a great list I really want to play that needs 160 gold to make happen. So I don't know. I'd have to look at what I thought fit my play style. I have no idea how to answer that.
I do like these patrons. They're actually pretty fun and cool.
Yeah,
great patrons, guys.
A couple of them, like Bort, the Warden of Arsmith, the Lord Mayor, we have art for because they were key NPCs in our world and are building towards this story. But I don't have, for example, Torvaral Prevalin is a world builder character, right? And we need to get, art for that character at some point. We don't have art for Crotus, the Archon, and some of these other people. But these are going to expand. These articles are going to expand with more details about these people. They're going to appear in other campaigns. We do want to try to get some stability to their Free Blades campaign patron rule, so it sticks with them. We've kind of changed them a couple times as we've played these campaigns out. The Lord Mayor's been in several, for example, and we've kind of messed with her rule a little bit over time. But they're going to become more and more defined, and then we're going to be adding to them all the time. Not just us, but our world builders and Phelan Elite are going to be adding to the list. So this is a group that's going to expand, and for people like Heron Barrows, the Baron of Caradal, and Zaklar, the Great Khan, and some of these other folks, they are going to be big players in the story of the Brightsword War, which we're going to start telling next summer. At full speed, we're going to start telling next summer. So yeah, we're getting pretty happy with these, I think, and we're going to significantly expand them. But if you're a world builder or Phelan Elite, your person or the leader of your unsanctioned free band or whatever can start making this list as well, like Torvaral and the Dragon Flame Magi has. Become a patron. Major NPC, whatever. I don't know who I'd pick if I were picking. I'll have to look here. Oh, I do like the Lord Mayor. So I do like the stability rules because anything that takes luck out of a game is okay by me. And I enjoyed writing the rule for the Archivist Council. That's a rule we wanted to put in the game for a while. So might be another one I'd pick if I were picking or trying to bid for one. But that's a play style thing. If you're come from every side of the map, the con's going to be for you. If you were over there to butcher people, the mark of the enforcer or the ones that give you a bonus for life points lost might be for you. The Lion's Bane. So it's really kind of personal.
Yeah, I tend to not take a lot of allies in my list, so I'm going to bid to not get that one.
I don't know, you could be me playing demons where I can't take allies, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we're going to amend a couple of those. You've given us your list. You're not wrong, Matt. Yeah, we need to amend a couple. We don't want you. It's okay to bid away from it. We don't want you to randomly end up with it and have it be not useful to you. So we're going to fix that one way or the other.
Oh, I'm still bidding, Steve, because there's certain ones I do want.
Right. Yeah, we're trying to fix the problem on the other end where you end up either you took your chances randomly or you just didn't get what you wanted off the top of your list, and even some gold, and you end up with something your free band can't use. That's no fun. So we're going to make those modifications. What else? I got both twins in my list. Yeah.
They have snowshoes?
Yeah.
With or without a merchant follower?
No, I also have a merchant follower. So,
how much did they pay you to get you to do
nothing,
that?
but I did paint them as Liberace and Elton John.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I am. My style of play in the campaign has become pretty stable over time. Just the way I like to play it. I generally don't start with a caster on game one. I'm money focused, so I've always, the last several campaigns, I've always taken a merchant. And I'm looking to build cash as kind of my goal. I'm not competing with Two Beard Julie for highest Mara, that's for sure. So that's not a thing. I often end up with and I don't go for things like the injuries or the knowledge one because I'm too vicious about retiring models that aren't performing the way I want them to perform. When I take Haradel and I take 6 archers to start, if you don't get a raw up, you're gone. I turn you back into 3 gold and you're gone. So there's a whole bunch of former muster archers at the University of Haradel in a free ride. That used to work for me. But so it's really a style-based thing. Some players would never start a campaign without a caster. That's crazy. So it really is super personal. But the idea of 4d6 gold just for standing on the table kind of attracts me. So try to make these two chuckleheads work in a fight. And I get to mock them, which is fun. So.
So correct me if I'm wrong. We start with 150 gold on the list. Do they have to be starter boxes, or they can still be customized lists?
No, Paul. First of all, you get 160 gold.
Okay, I must have misread that. Okay,
let's walk the dog. No problem. So on World Anvil, which is where we're keeping the. I also want to make sure I'm saying something that's actually true. So,
it does say 160.
Yeah,
I've got it up.
And the reason why is to give a 10 gold kind of slush fund to those who wanted to bid for their patron, their starting location and patron, and not cut into the typical 150 start that they're used to. I said, I'm picking I'm not picking a patron, one, because I want all the players in KC to have an opportunity to get whatever patron they want without me interfering with it. And two, it's just not as important to me as trying to list out that I've got, which takes 160 gold to do the way I wanted to do it. But also, more importantly, and it does say each player begins a campaign with a starting treasury of 160 gold royals, with which to recruit their initial free band. It's a map-based campaign. Please note that you may use some of your starting treasury to bid for the choice of patron. It's also, you could bid more than 10. I might find that insane, but I also don't have a particular synergy with my list to some particular. I guess if I did it, I'd go after the one that adds money because I just pile more money on and buy more models. But I've rapidly gotten to 18 in the course of a campaign before, so that's less of a concern. So I don't know what I'd pick, but you can bid more. Now, if you're going with 150 or maybe a little more and bidding some or going with all, you do not have to start with the 150 points that are in the starter box. You could do that 150 any way you want.
Okay.
But it's legal with free band construction, but you can do it any way you want. You don't have to do it the way the starter boxes are. But, if a game master said, I want to make this simple, that's what my people are familiar with, we're not going to play any options, and everybody picks a starter box, hey, that's your group.
The other
a bad idea anyway.
Something I would throw out as well is like you can look at the game and you can look at everything that's going on and be like, oh, that patron sucks, that patron's really good, or oh, this would be really good, or I don't get that. Anyway, my point in all this is like just as you play through the campaign, you'll figure out what works for you. So like John's going all money, right? And that's a strategy that you can take. It's not what I'm doing. I'm doing something else, right? And trying to build off of other things. And so you can just you'll figure out how the campaign works, especially if this is your first one. Uh-huh. And then on the next one, you'll be way more, you'll be way smarter. So just enjoy what the campaign has for you, and you'll figure out what you enjoy about it, and you'll major in those things in the next one.
Yeah, it's just I don't have many games underneath my belt, so I don't know what I don't know.
So for your group as a quester, this is what I would do for a new group, or I know you're pretty new as well, Paul. I would just do starter boxes. Hey, y'all, we're just going to grab a starter box and we're going to play through this. And, if you want, you can add an additional follower to your list for however many gold that costs, or you can bid or whatever. And so that would be what I would do in a situation where there's a very new group coming along, is we're all just going to play starter boxes and go from there. And then find some other way to bid instead of the gold.
Well, we only have 2 players in the area, so I'm actually doing Matt Bundy's group.
Oh, great! Well,
so I am. Yeah, so I am playing remotely. So.
That's cool. You don't have to pick the starter box. The only thing in the rules is that's legal free band construction, however it goes. So. Like, for example, since I don't take a caster, right, I can't have a leader. Well, I can't have a leader of 5 heroes because the amount of gold cost, but, I wouldn't be able to get to a leader and 5 heroes by adding more heroes, because under 250 gold cost, 250 and under, it's you have to have a leader, you can have a caster, and up to 4 more heroes. But if I don't have a caster, it's still just 4 heroes because my leader isn't also one, like a Shadow Hunter or a Moon's Priestess. So, or a Shadow Hunter leader to Moon's Priestess, or an alternate leader caster. So, I got to play by those rules for free band construction. But my starting list looks nothing like a starter box. I don't think. Well, with Sailor, I got Sailors in my list. That's a starter box model, but nothing else is. So that's really kind of each individual is going to make their own decision. What they're doing there, but you're not required to take a starter box, certainly.
Good to know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I know we've done, 160. We've also done in the past where we said you get 150, you get an additional 10 if prior to the game starts, prior to the campaign starts, you named your free band and your free band's initial models and told a little story. And the incentive for the extra 10 gold was to, give your crew a name and name all your starting models, your heroes and followers, and then say how they came together, or this is what they did last time, or this is how they met, in a paragraph, and then the GM would award an extra 10 gold to build it. It's really, it's just so particular to what the group likes that you're gonna see.
I threw out
it's done as these campaigns get added.
We did if your entire free band was painted, you got a fate stone at the beginning of the game.
Hey, yeah, I like it. That's exactly the kind of thing that we're talking about. It's really that what will work for a Rogers group. It might not work for other groups. It's really kind of.
I'm joining Rogers group.
Send you the interview papers.
I'm not getting in there, am I?
Out of curiosity, does painted mean based as well?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Valhalla Blizzard is on back order.
Any other questions? Whispers of Doom. Anything about the campaign or Free Blades rules in the campaign or what have you? Okay. Matt Gooch, you might want to consider cutting off the recording at some point here in the near future.